For over 55 years, your source for agribusiness news and features from around the Southeast and across the country, focusing on one of the nation's top industries, agriculture. The Farm Monitor is produced by the Georgia Farm Bureau in association with the Abraham Baldwin Agricultural College.
Hi there, good to see you again. Jennifer Parson, Ray DeLessio at your service. So, how was your week? Busy like ours? That's a good thing.
Yes, it is. We like to call it a labor of love. All that hard work paid off, and once again, we have a great show for you. Coming up, what lies ahead for pecan growers in southeast Georgia after the devastating blow from Hurricane Helene. Is there hope for the future of their industry? Also on the program, an exciting partnership in the works that could bridge agriculture and opportunities for Georgia's special needs community. Plus,
hey everybody, Ranger Nick. Coming up a little bit later, we're talking cows, and when cows eat, they produce methane. The University of Georgia is measuring that methane with this contraption, and I'll explain what they're finding and how it even matters to the steaks you buy. That and a whole lot more starts right now on the Farm Monitor.
well, nearly every sector of Georgia's agriculture, including the forestry industry, continues to bear the scars of devastation from Hurricane Helene, nearly $6.5 billion so far. That was the key focus during a recent gathering at an affected farm in Soperton. Georgia Agriculture Commissioner Tyler Harper, joined by Governor Brian Kemp and other ag leaders from around the state, addressed the ongoing challenges faced by farmers and foresters. Their discussions highlighted not only the immediate impacts, but also the long-term challenges that lie ahead for Georgia's foresters as they work to recover and rebuild.
It's significant. This storm is, as we've stated, catastrophic. It's been it's impacted farm families and forest landowners in a generational way, and those impacts in some ways are almost hard to quantify.
When you think about a 30 to 40 year rotation on trees, and you think about a 1.28 billion direct impact to our timber resource, that's generational. It's going to take years to recover. And really one of the greatest threat within that years is the land conversion, whether it's homes, condos, cotton fields, but losing that forest resource is really the greatest threat over that next 20-year gap.
Yeah, a lot of uncertainty indeed. Same goes for pecan producers. As John Holcomb reports, an estimated 75% of the trees in the areas hit the hardest are considered a total loss.
Here in southeast Georgia, this is the heartbreaking scene that pecan producers in the region woke up to after Hurricane Helene's destructive march through the state. As you can see, pecan orchards like this one were almost completely leveled by winds of more than 100 miles per hour that toppled trees that producers have worked so hard to grow over the last decade and were full of this season's crop.
This type of wind that occurred at this location, which is far into the state of Georgia, lower Montgomery County, was 109 miles an hour was the recording. And with a hurricane, your damage actually comes not just from the wind, but from the rain. And everybody knows we were brought so much rain. The square foot of the canopy that's extended, that picks up the wind, it just blows these trees straight over. And in a hurricane, a lot of times we'll see 30% tree loss. And we think that's so bad, and 40, sometimes 50. But again, at this location, we're at the 80% tree loss over 10 years old.
What makes this storm so devastating is the timing, as producers were already struggling as inputs have driven up their cost of production, as well as the fact that the industry itself was in the midst of transitioning to different, more sustainable varieties.
For the industry as a whole, we were already struggling. We had the price issues with pecans the last few years, and that's been really hurt by the cost of the inputs. Treatments or fungicide programs, these are desirable. These have a lot of disease. So they've had very strong fungicide programs, been more than 10 sprays in this orchard this year. But on the other side of the road from me is a different variety that doesn't have as much spray. So the state of Georgia, honestly, was already involved in switching orchards, if you will, from high management varieties to lower management varieties. And these are varieties that still have great production and kernel quality, but we were in that transition. And this storm, you know, for all that they've gone through, this storm, you know, really has added to the difficulties.
However, the immediate effect is not what's most concerning, as storms like this one and damage like this has a lasting impact, as producers will have no choice but to replant, and will have to wait at least 7 years for those trees to start producing.
Normal storm events, you know, we worry about losing some trees and then losing the crop for this year. But with a tree, we can have another crop next year. In a situation like this, if the trees are leaning just 45 degrees, 30 degrees at this age, their roots are so damaged, they won't come back and they won't be able to make a crop. In a situation like this, you don't come back with a crop next year. If you replant, which is only option, we're not looking for a crop here until now, 7, 8, 9 years from now.
Reporting in Uvalde for the Farm Monitor, I'm John Holcomb.
And just to let you know, Georgia's top ag organizations, including Georgia Farm Bureau, have joined forces to establish a relief fund aimed at supporting farmers affected by Hurricane Helene. All donations processed through the Georgia Foundation for Agriculture are tax deductible. You can contribute via the QR code on your screen, a secure online donation form, or by check. For more details, visit gfb.org/hurricane-relief.
Still to come here on the Monitor, the groundbreaking potential collaboration involving Georgia Farm Bureau and how the partnership could transform lives and foster independence. But first,
well, hey everybody, Ranger Nick coming up after the break. Can you determine which one of these 3 steers was fed grass or grain? I'm going to answer that question by talking to a scientist at the University of Georgia about protein and fat development after the break.
Hey, I'm Tom McCall, president of Georgia Farm Bureau. This November, we will have the opportunity to cast a vote for those who represent your interest as both a Georgian and an American. Agriculture is our state's #1 industry, contributing more than $83 billion to Georgia's economy, and it employs about 1 in 7 Georgians. Farmers need elected officials to support favorable ag policy, as these benefits stretch far beyond the fence road, impacting everything from the food and fiber we need to international trade and even feeding our most vulnerable citizens. It's because of that need we have created a great resource called I Farm, I Vote for both voters and candidates that highlights the importance of a strong agricultural economy and why it's so important now more than ever to support candidates that support agriculture and help protect our most vital industry. To learn more about policies that are important to Georgia farmers, how, where, and when for you to vote, go to ifarmivotegeorgia.com. This will help you make your decisions on who we think and you think that the candidates that will help our farm economy stay strong. Please remember to vote in November.
It's that time of year when agritourism enthusiasts hit the road in search of the perfect fall experience. And what better way to do that than by getting lost in one of Georgia's mini corn mazes? At Washington Farms in Watkinsville, they've taken it to the next level, paying tribute to Georgia's own country music star, Luke Bryan. They're not alone. More than 30 farms nationwide are honoring the icon this season.
We talked about it and, kind of looked at different ideas we could put in the maze. And then it's just a matter of working it all out, planning it out, and then graphing it out so we'll get the design in the maze where it looks decent. He's a great country star, great fan of his, and our staff all wanted to have his theme out here in the corn patch. And so that's our design this year, and we're all excited about it.
Well, just like Washington Farms, Copper Creek Farm in Calhoun features its own unique corn maze. But what really sets it apart is the fascinating story behind it. Damon Jones has more on that.
What started off as just a food truck and a plot of land has now transformed into this sprawling agritourism destination tucked away in the foothills of the Appalachian Mountains. And now Copper Creek Farm in Calhoun has become one of the go-to attractions in North Georgia.
From selling ice cream on the road for 13 years, my dad said, you know, we had this land here, and he was like, hey, you know, I think we could host an event here. So it took us 3 years to build this, and then we opened in 2013, and it began to really just to be a small corn maze, but then it just started to grow, and now we got what we have today.
And that list is pretty extensive, as families can enjoy everything from hay rides to games and even a candy cannon. It's the type of entertainment that allows each and every visitor to unwind and enjoy a nice fall afternoon with the family.
What we like to provide here at Copper Creek Farm is a safe, friendly, fun atmosphere where you can just really just forget, detach about what's going on in the world and come here and really just have an organic, fun time with the family. Hey, it's a pumpkin patch, it's a corn maze. You know, we got 25 adventures here on the farm for you and your family to experience, all the way from the gem mine to the zip line to the pony rides, 100-foot slides, jumping pillow, and we have a one-of-a-kind pig races.
However, the highlight might be this expansive corn maze that takes months of planning and hard work in order to get it ready for the public. It's the kind of perseverance and dedication around the farm they are proud to share with the kids.
Things are getting more built around, and sort of congested areas in the farm atmosphere it's hard to find. And so I think, especially for children nowadays, I think them coming on a farm and seeing what it takes to work a farm, plant the pumpkins, plant the corn, milk the cows, take care of the animals, I think that's something that's you know, begin to be dwindling in our society today, and it's really good, I feel like, to bring that back, you know, to our hometown.
However, the main goal is to pack as much fun as possible into one afternoon, and if the growing crowds and repeat customers are any indication, it's fair to say mission accomplished.
Now is our 10th year, and a lot of these faces you know, I have seen throughout the years, and they bring their family back. It's really awesome to see their kids grow and them just to create an annual tradition here at the pumpkin patch. They get their pumpkin every year, they take their hayride every year, and of course new faces along the way, but we just want to make sure to provide a clean Christian atmosphere here at Copper Creek.
Reporting from Calhoun, I'm Damon Jones for the Farm Monitor.
Holding a juvenile Juro spider. Until next time, for the Farm Monitor, I'm Ranger Nick, reminding you, like I always do, that enthusiasm is contagious. Well, you're looking high above the beautiful Double Bridges Farm, owned by the Department of Animal and Dairy Science at the University of Georgia. And speaking of that department, I am joined this month by Dr. Francis Fluharty. Hey, Doc, good to see you.
Good to see you.
So glad to be the department head of that department. And we're talking cows this month. And when cows eat, heck, when we eat, we generate methane. And I think about that methane, and I think about greenhouse gases.
Yes.
And I think about conversations that come up about that, whether an animal is fed grain or grass. Dr. Fluharty, what comes to your mind when we think about the outcomes of animals like that eating grass and grain and greenhouse gas?
What comes to my mind is that we have to eat, and these cattle are utilizing the majority of the cellulose that is in forages. Humans aren't able to digest cellulose, which is why doctors put us on lettuce and celery, because they're high cellulose. Well, these cattle eat that grain and that grass, and they put it into an edible product, animal protein, that we can eat. The other thing I think about is there's a lot of misinformation about just how much greenhouse gas is being produced by cattle in North America. We measure everything based on CO2, carbon dioxide equivalents.
Right.
Methane has a carbon dioxide equivalent of 28. But then we look at all of the vehicles that we drive. and all of the tractors that we drive that produce nitrous oxide.
Into the atmosphere,
Into the atmosphere. Nitrous oxide has a CO2 equivalent of 285%. As humans, we have to eat. Agriculture is critical to that.
Yeah.
Animal agriculture is critical to that because it's high quality protein.
Yeah.
And the reality of it is, protein energy malnutrition is the #1 cause of death worldwide.
So let's talk greenhouse gases some more. Let's talk about measuring methane, and let's talk to Hunter Perez. Hey, Hunter.
Hey.
Good to see you today. So Hunter and I are standing in front of this contraption. I'm not real sure what it does, but Hunter's going to explain it. Second-year Master of Science student in the Department of Animal and Dairy Science at UGA. Hunter, how does this thing measure methane from a cow?
So this is actually a C-lock system known as a green feed. And so each cow has a RFID tag, which is kind of its identification, electronic identification tag. And so when the animal comes into this contraption, there's a camera and sensor that senses that RFID. And then that triggers treats or pellets to be released. And contrary to popular belief, it's not cow flatulence that produce the most. It's actually energetic methane from the mouth that's being released when cattle are eating or eructating. And so once those pellets are down there, this contraption actually takes in those gases and takes them up that tube. And there's sensors in there that can calculate the concentration of CO2, carbon dioxide, and methane, and allow us to see that at different times of the day of what they're producing.
Does your research for your master's relate to this?
Very much so.
Cool.
So for my research, we put all the cows on a high grain diet and then abruptly switch them to low quality forage and high quality forage. And so that way we're seeing, hey, what's this kind of look like on a high grain diet? But also all pastures aren't the same.
Right.
Some pastures are going to be higher quality, some pastures are going to be lower quality. And so being able to actually see the differences in methane production on those qualities is really important.
Well, the real reason we came out here today was to fire up the grill. And before we do and eat these yummy steaks, Doc, talk to us about what these animals were fed to make this look the way it looks.
Sure. The animal in front of me here to the right is an animal that was fed grain but was on pasture. Okay. And you will notice that it is much leaner from the standpoint of intramuscular fat, this fat that's within the muscle.
Right.
It's leaner because that forage that it was grazing has a lot of vitamin A. And vitamin A is an antagonist to marbling. Okay. So the real reason we have feedlots is to improve the efficiency, but our market is based largely on marbling.
Right, the appearance of that.
The appearance of marbling. So when we take animals off of grass and we put them into a feedlot, they gain more. An animal on grass may gain 2 pounds a day. An animal in a feedlot probably is going to gain around 3.5 pounds a day.
Okay.
So the one thing I'd like to say is that these 2 steaks between my hands came from the University of Georgia's farms, and the genetics are relatively similar. They're both out of Angus sires and Angus cows. The steak in the center came from an animal that was put on feed when it was about 7 months of age. It was harvested at about 16 months of age. Okay. Versus this steak over here came from an animal that was approximately 2 years of age.
Wow. See, I learn something every time we do this. Dr. Fluharty, thank you.
Thank you so much.
I so much enjoyed this, and I hope you all did too. You know what to do. Hop online before you fire up the grill and learn more about these steaks and learn other things that are going on the Farm Monitor. Until next time, for the Farm Monitor, I'm Ranger Nick, reminding you, as I always do, that enthusiasm is contagious. So pass it on. Y'all, thanks so much for watching. We'll see you right back here again this time next month. See ya. Holding a juvenile Juro spider. Until next time, for the Farm Monitor, I'm Ranger Nick, reminding you, like I always do, that enthusiasm is contagious.
Well, an exciting partnership could be on the horizon. Something involving Georgia Farm Bureau. Something that could bring together agriculture and opportunities for Georgia's special needs community. How this unique collaboration could change lives across the state, next.
The synergies between these next 3 organizations is real, and soon that special connection could result in a very unique partnership.
Y'all been doing a lot of work.
Georgia Farm Bureau's Ag in the Classroom Coordinator and the Director of Georgia Vocational Rehabilitation Agency recently toured Peachtree Farm in hopes of a potential collaboration.
We are here to explore an opportunity to partner with Peachtree Farms to ensure that we can offer an opportunity for our students to come out and learn about the field of agriculture.
GVRA works with individuals with disabilities to try and remove barriers and help them seek opportunities for employment. The goal? Independence. Joe Twiner at Peachtree Farm shares a similar mission.
Serving about 60 students a month. This entire farm is run, planted, grown, maintained by adults with disabilities. So our farmers are involved with seeding, propagating, growing plants in our horticulture nursery, as well as maintaining our tomato plants in our hydroponic greenhouse.
Peachtree Farm started as a family project for the Twiners to help support his sister Quinn and her classmates as they transitioned out of high school.
Yes.
It's grown over the years to become a resource for more students. They're even providing tomatoes for the local meal kit company, Garnish and Gather.
Disability unemployment is astronomical. The number of folks with disabilities who either never seek employment or are unemployed is far surpassing any sort of comparable number. And so having the opportunity to develop job skills, develop job experience, and develop the attitudes and personalities and soft skills necessary to pursue a career is essential. Having the opportunity to work on a farm which is purpose-driven and you can see your work grow in front of you is really essential for developing those skills.
And with Georgia Farm Bureau's help, they hope to expand what they're doing at Peachtree Farm to other farms around the state.
Farm Bureau can be the resource. We should be the go-to for ag education, and then connect them with the partners that we currently have and are working with, and just broadening their circle and ours with this agency.
Wells says there are 78 different vocational rehabilitation entities in our state, and there's a tremendous need to educate and prepare students with disabilities for the workforce.
And so we always hear that we're the best kept secret. It would be my hope that through communication, collaboration, and conversations that we can not only provide information to individuals that are in need about options, but also the supports that an agency like GVRA can provide, and also the partnerships through Farm Bureau that we're also learning that some of the things that they're doing, how we can move forward and partner together.
One of the best things that Farm Bureau does is provide agriculture education resources to our ag teachers and to all of our schools throughout the state. Georgia Vocational Rehab provides the disability education for employment and job preparation, so being able to partner agriculture education with disability employment education is really essential for what we do here and what we want to see both Farm Bureau and GVRA do.
Us being able to do a better job telling our story to groups like Georgia Vocational Rehab Agency helps us tell the story of agriculture to a different population and getting them involved and giving them a path to success as they get older.
Lauren Goebel, by the way, one of the guest speakers as Georgia Farm Bureau and GVRA held a special ag awareness pep rally during the annual Georgia National Fair. The rally aimed to introduce students ages 14 to 21 to exciting career opportunities in ag, with Goebel emphasizing its vital role in our communities and economy.
So with agriculture being our #1 industry, we're always looking for employees. And it doesn't matter what background you have, what education status you have, there is a role for everyone somewhere in agriculture.
Now hold on, we're not done just yet. Before we send you on your way, a friendly reminder that for all the latest ag news regarding food, recipes, and what's happening on Georgia farms, be sure you check out all of our social media platforms, including farm-monitor.com. Okay, now we're done.
Take care, everybody. We'll see you next time right here on the Farm Monitor. Stay safe and have a great week.